Do you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7? The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Hey, welcome in once again to Roadrunner Rundown, the official program, CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Corey Costelloe with you on a Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us once again on the program here at the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California. And we got a lot of stuff to get to on today's program. We're going to talk a lot of fundraising here on the show today. A lot of news out of that realm in the last couple of weeks. And so Ziggy Siegfried, who is our senior associate AD and now our interim athletics director, will be joining us on the program the next couple segments, as a matter of fact. First, we're going to talk about the annual fund, the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund fundraising, which did set a new record this past year with Ziggy and Derek Holdsworth, the president of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund. They're coming up in the next segment. We'll talk about a banner year, the help they got from the community, the support from the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund board, and much, much more. So we'll talk about that big number that they put up this past year, what that means for student-athlete scholarships at CSUB. Also, coming up in the bottom of the hour, Ziggy will continue with us as well, as Steve Barnes is going to join us on the program. Steve's a very big supporter of CSUB sand volleyball and has already made a generous donation for the facility, and we'll talk more about some other news along that realm as well with Steve regarding CSUB sand volleyball. So that's coming up at the bottom of the hour as well. So a lot of talk about fundraising and community support on today's program. Also a special surprise. We're going to flip the script a little bit in segment number 4, the final segment of the show. We're just going to flip it a little bit. So stay tuned for that coming up at the end of today's program. So getting right to it, got a lot of news to get to on the show today. We'll start first with the Western Athletic Conference announced their most prestigious awards last week, the Joe Kearney Award, which honors the top male and female student athletes of the year. On the male side, it was none other than CSUB swimmer Mitchell Huxold with the honor. Huxold had a record-breaking year in the pool, which included conference championships along with WAC Swimmer of the Year honors. It was the first time that CSUB has won this award while competing in the WAC.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just, out of all the sports, I went to a swimmer because swimming just isn't a money sport and it's just not as recognized. Most people, it's not the funnest to watch for sure, but the work that we all put in here in the pool is, I'm glad that, it got recognized.
It means a lot. It's certainly going to help our recruiting. I think it's great for the sport of swimming. The WAC didn't have men's swimming for 15 years or so, so they brought it back, and in the first year, a male swimmer wins the award. He just got 9th at U.S. Nationals for open water swimming. The top 8 made Pan Pacs, so he missed it by 1, and we head out to U.S. Nationals for swimming next week, in 2 weeks in Irvine, so we're not done yet.
As Chris mentioned, U.S. Nationals still on the docket for Mitchell Huxold in a couple of weeks. But phenomenal season for Mitchell. And, wow, the Western Athletic Conference most prestigious award, the Joe Kearney Award, going to Mitchell Huxold for Male Athlete of the Year. That is great. And as Chris kind of pointed out, men's swimming had been off the WAC sponsorship list for several years. And now it comes back. And in the first year, Mitchell not only becomes WAC Swimmer of the Year, but also the Joe Kearney Award winner. So a phenomenal year. And congratulations to him. On to summer camp. There's still a few opportunities remaining for this summer for your kids. CSUB volleyball specifically. They've got a couple of camps happening, even including one now as we speak. The next one begins on Thursday and Friday. It'll focus on setters and hitters. Next week is a special U14 and high school all-skills sand volleyball camp. The first one ever done for CSUB at the new sand volleyball facility, which will run next Monday and Tuesday. Then there's the all-high school team camp, which is coming up July 30th and 31st. Director of Volleyball Giovanna Mello talks about what those camps provide to those interested in the sport.
Yeah, we're going to try to split a little bit. Obviously, when you come to all skill camps like today, you're learning a little bit more fundamentals. And in a set of hitter camp, it's going to be really specified. As a hitter, you're going to learn a lot of little things that we would do here. If you're a hitter, and the same thing if you're a setter, working on specific things that you would work as a setter that we wouldn't do it if we were doing it in an all skills camp. I think we're trying to bring kids in to see first what we have here, and to bring them, merging them in the sand and show them what we have accomplished here at CSUB and showing them what we're able to do in the sand. I think that there's a lot for them to learn, that it's completely different than if they were to come in the indoor. And we're trying to, it's a little hot, but we're trying to bring them in to just kind of see a little bit of different things that you can learn in the sand. If you're excited about sand, you should really definitely come check it out. Yeah, we want to make sure that the high school, we're trying to promote this for high school teams so they can come in and play. A lot of playing time. There are a lot of hours for them to play. We're trying to do, in the morning, we'll work on a little bit of skills for them, and then in the afternoon, a lot of playing time. So we're trying to do it that way with high school teams already set. But if there are kids that want to come in, that want to create a team and then play it as well, we're able to do that as well.
Costs for the camps do vary. There are, like I said, a few camps still going on. You can register online by clicking the camps link at GoRunners.com or by visiting RoadrunnerVolleyballCamps.com. Once again, that's RoadrunnerVolleyballCamps.com. On to administration news. VP of Student Affairs Dr. Thomas Wallace and President Dr. Horace Mitchell announced Ziggy Siegfried as interim athletics director last week following the resignation of Jeff Konya. Siegfried served as CSUB Senior Associate AD for External Operations for the last 2 years and regularly oversaw the department in Konya's absence. We'll speak with Ziggy coming up in the next couple of segments. First, we'll talk fundraising and the record year for his department. Also, Steve Barnes, a sand volleyball supporter, making another generous gift to the facility. We'll talk about that coming up in segment number 3. And finally, on to marketing. From the marketing front, it's lots of new images and lots of new things for fans to look forward to in the 2014-15 season. The We're All Runners campaign officially launches today. The new marketing initiative showcases the diversity of the community, both in Bakersfield and Kern County, reminding everyone that we are all runners at heart. The new campaign includes a new CSUB Roadrunners hand logo right there. You see it on the screen, created by Phoenix Design Works, a New Jersey-based company. The logo captures the hand gesture, becoming commonplace among student athletes and fans at CSUB. And you see right there the new blue court design, which is part of the $300,000 renovation going on right now at the Icardo Center. And so the We're All Runners campaign will be kind of instituted in a variety of ways, including new facility signage, along with the new hand logos that you see there, and the redesign of the now infamous blue court. And that's a look at that rendering right there, part of a $300,000 Icardo Center renovation happening right now. So that's what you have to look forward to in 2014-15. New marketing campaigns, new slogans, new images, and a new blue court. Well, we just made the old one even prettier with this new design, and a little simpler. It's just got the one bird head in the middle, as opposed to the Roadrunner that used to go from 3-point line to 3-point line. Now we're going to go to one in the middle, and then the Bakersfield, as you might notice, sort of arced as kind of the Bakersfield sign is down there on Buck Owens Boulevard. So we kind of a little tribute to Bakersfield and the Bakersfield sign by kind of arcing those letters there on the new floor at the Icardo Center. So again, more to come, by the way, on that renovation. A lot of new paint, new color scheme going on in the Icardo Center. It's going to look totally different by the start of the 2014 volleyball season, which will get underway in September. So a aggressive construction plan right now, and of course the new blue court design part of that as well. One more reminder, I want to congratulate a couple CSUB alums who had a great weekend. Jossie Zardes of the LA Galaxy scoring yet another goal in the Galaxy's 1-0 win over Real Salt Lake. Continues to be one of the hottest players on the pitch for the MLS Galaxy, as he is having a phenomenal year. Also, Johnny Montoya, former CSUB pitcher, now playing professionally in Austria, and yes, I said that right, Austria, with the Kufstein Vikings through his first career no-hitter on Sunday afternoon for Kufstein as he got the victory and his first career the entire time he's been playing baseball from a little tyke through the Roadrunners and now onto the Kufstein Vikings, his first ever no-hitter, and he throws that. More importantly, it was his first game back from injury, which had sidelined him for several weeks, and his mom and his sister were in town as well to visiting him in Austria, and he threw the no-hitter in front of family as well. So congratulations to him, Jossie Zardes as well for a couple big weekends for CSUB alums. We're going to step away and take a break. When we come back on the program, Ziggy Siegfried is going to join us along with Roadrunner Scholarship Fund President Derek Holdsworth as we talk about a record year in 2014 for the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund. Coming up next, we'll be right back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Hey everybody, I'm Louis Amestoy, the host of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour here on Bakersfield.com. You can watch us live every Tuesday at 11 o'clock as we talk about things going on at Auto Club Formosa Raceway, at Kern County Raceway Park, and of course the historic Bakersfield Speedway. We'll have results, we'll have interviews with drivers, we'll have updates on Kevin Harvick and Casey Mears on NASCAR. Also talk about NHRA, IndyCar, Formula One. Also be joined by Mike Griffith in studio every day.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Follow the Gades live on Bakersfield.com every Saturday during football season. Every Bakersfield College football game will be broadcast live on Bakersfield.com starting September 6th when the Gades visit Riverside. Follow the action on Bakersfield.com Saturday, September 6th at 6 o'clock. Join the Bakersfield Californian and Bakersfield College exclusively on Bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown as we continue on the program. Corey Costelloe here with you. Lots of fundraising stuff and news to get to on today's program. And we'll start by, a couple weeks ago we had been talking about this very lofty goal of $600,000 for the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund. And we were counting it down. We were getting close. Matter of fact, I think just the pure listener/viewer reaction from this show put these gentlemen over the top. But I want to welcome to the show these guys, very instrumental in getting that happen. Derek Holdsworth, the president of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, and Ziggy Siegfried, our now interim athletics director. First of all, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Corey.
But obviously, you guys had a very, very busy, especially month of June, to get this this new goal. Derek, as the president in this year, what was that? The build-up and kind of the execution like to get to that $600,000 mark?
Well, we had when we set the goal last year. It was an ambitious goal, and I'll be honest with you, there were some concerns that we would get there. But we, during the year, it was kind of a slow build-up. We got to about 2 weeks maybe before the end of the fund drive, and we were still close to $200,000 shy. So I won't say that I wasn't a little nervous about it. First of all, we started saying, well, maybe what we ought to do is, at least if we can beat the goal from last year, which was 550. So we in the board, and I got to commend the board, because without, especially the executive committee, they just worked their butts off to get this to happen. And when we were at 420, 440, we said, what can we do? We've got to get this thing. We're so close now. So everybody worked really hard. We went out and made calls, talked to people we knew, and literally at the last minute, I'm going to say maybe within the last couple of days, we finally went over 600,000 to 603. Wow. Took a lot of pressure off, and I got to commend the board and all the people that donated, because clearly without them we wouldn't have made it. But it was tough. It was tough, and now we're starting again for next year, and we're going to have the same. We're going to set a little higher goal, so we're going to go through it again, but we'll get there.
Well, Ziggy, you guys could have easily. I mean, last year you set the new record, 500,000. You could have probably easily said, okay, that's our goal again, or maybe upped it to 550 or something. But you said no, we're going to go to 600. So I mean, obviously, you guys were trying to challenge the scholarship fund, the community, and yourselves to raise this new record high.
We absolutely were, and because we have to keep on moving forward. It starts back at zero every year on July 1st, and we know that we can't take a step back. So, like Derek said, I was on the show. Candidly, we didn't know if we were going to make it, but we weren't ready to give up.
Yeah.
And so we're going to keep on raising the bar. We're going to keep on pushing things. But like I've said before, it has to be a realistic goal. And we felt like 600,000, if everything fell into place, that it was a realistic goal, and we proved that.
What was the difference in the last few days, weeks, to really hit that mark?
Well, I can answer that briefly, and then I'll let Derek do that. But I really think it was our board member. We're not a large board,
yeah.
But who we have on that board is they're quality. And they stepped up. You put a goal in front of this community. This came from Don Bynum. They're going to find a way to hit it. When you put a goal in front of our board members, they're going to find a way to get it done, and that's what they did.
Well, what happened was this year we set up a contest within the board, just kind of a little rivalry, and set up two teams. And for a long period of time, one team was substantially ahead of the other. And we were making jokes about it and kind of ribbing the other team about, come on, guys, you got to step up. And there was a substantial difference. So as it got down to the end, the difference got closer and closer and closer. And then finally at the very end, we have two board members, Pat and Alan Wade, father and son. They kind of stepped up and said, whatever happens, we're going to make up the difference with a long-term commitment, and we're going to do it so that each team has exactly the same amount. So there was really no winner except for the scholarship fund. So it was kind of fun at the end, but it was a little nervous at the end too. Well,
and you brought up some of the board members and stuff, but how much of the job? I mean, they seem you have good people on the board, but they also seem like they're people that can really put the screws to some folks. If they really want to get some money out of them to help student athletes, they're gonna bear down a little bit.
Yeah, it's and that's the kind of people that we have on the board and we want on the board. Yeah. Obviously, we push the limit sometimes, and sometimes it strains relationships. People finally get to the point where geez, how much time are you going to ask me?
Yeah.
But I think in the end, what happens is the board understands how important this is. What our goal is to be fully funded for scholarships.
Sure.
Once we hit that goal and all the scholarship money is out there and it's fully funded, then we can focus on facilities.
Right.
Some of the funds, a lot of the funds that go to supplement scholarships, can now go into facilities, and those facilities really need to be upgraded, and that's going to be our next focus once we get to 100% funded on the scholarships.
Absolutely. Ziggy, what was the reaction like this year? You know, you're coming off last year's new record for scholarships. So this year you had the $600,000 goal. What was the community reception like this year, knowing you had a record last year and you had another lofty goal for this year?
You know, I think the board reaction was very positive, like, wow, I can't believe we pulled this off, because they saw the internal, handlings of all this and saw what it took. The community, I think we're getting to the point, and this is a good thing, where they're going to start assuming we're going to hit our goals. And on the, in the back of my mind, I like that, but I wish it were that easy. I wish that, hey, we set a goal of 660,000, let's say, for next year. I wish it was easy as saying, well, they're going to hit that.
Right.
It's great that they have confidence in us, but I think there's no doubt that everyone sees both our athletics department and our fundraising efforts as, I say it all the time, forward-moving trains.
And, I know the fund drive and the work that the Scholarship Fund members did is a huge part of that. But this past year, we really seemed to hit kind of an all-time peak in special events. That seemed to be a big fundraiser this year. Some new special events, some events we've had for a while, but just talk real quick about how much that helped, get to a goal this year.
And I think we all know Mark Mays, our assistant AD for special events. He likes to be behind the scenes. But I want to make sure people realize how much work he put in this year to have a record-breaking special event year, which also our board, the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund board, is heavily involved with that also. With the new concert, the Winona Jug concert, we blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
The new hot stove baseball event that, Mark has been telling me for a year now, we've got to get that off the ground. It's a gold mine. And I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that one was unbelievable. So special events, now let's be clear, that counts towards our overall $2 million that we raised. But it does not count towards our $603,000. And I want to make sure people realize that's completely separate.
Yeah.
But it was huge. Mark did a great job. Our board did a great job. And we can't forget, just like Derek said, our community stepped up.
Yeah, Derek, what was the kind of, you were out in the community trying to get new members and trying to get other members to, to rejoin and maybe up their donations. What was the reception like to you this year?
I think it was pretty good. I think one of the things that I noticed this year is that a lot of people renewed their contribution from last year. Every year that's been a struggle. For some reason in the past, maybe people have communicated that this is a one-time thing and next year we're going to come back with another one-time thing. Well, what I saw this year is a lot of people who gave last year made a commitment to make this a continuous giving situation. So when that happens, and when we get a group that are members of the scholarship fund that do that continuously, it makes our job much, much easier. Sure, we go out and try to get new members, but if we can get members that have given in the past to, at a very minimum, give what they gave last year or up it by 10%, it really makes the job go quicker and easier. And that's what I saw this year. I saw a lot of folks stepping up and renewing their commitment.
You had brought up the concept of fully funding scholarships, and obviously we know there's still work to be done on that. But are people starting to be a little more savvy in that realm, understanding the more they give, the more they help, the more competitive CSUB is because we can offer more scholarship money in more sports?
Yeah, I think that's finally starting to hit home. In this community, as we all know, likes to back a winner and likes to back winners. And so what we've been communicating is that this is a full circle. You have to start somewhere. And in order to be more competitive, especially in a conference, we can't be the number 11th team at the bottom or the number 9th team in our conference and expect to be competitive, both in scholarships and facilities. So, and that's not a school issue, that's a community issue. That's not too bad on the school, it's too bad on the community that we can't compete with a small town in Utah, for example. So, and once that gets out there, I think the pride in our community, folks start to understand that. They understand that that this is our Division I school in this community. If we want to be competitive, they're going to have to participate in that, and this is the way they can do that.
Yeah, and it seemed like a great response and reaction this year. Now, Ziggy, you had mentioned that July 1 it all starts over. So today's what, July 16th or 15th? So it kind of started all over. So what are you guys doing now? I mean, what have you been able to, I guess, set up for next year? I know you grind to the very end, and then all of a sudden it's like the calendar rolls over and you're back to zero. So what's kind of the game plan for 2014, 15?
Well, it's in motion. We celebrated on June 30th, that night when we actually hit our goals, and we're going to do a little celebration dinner. But we're already planning. We have a board retreat for our executive committee coming up at the end of July, where we're just talking about the board planning for next year. In the past, we've waited until September to have our first board meeting. Well, we work 12 months out of the year. We're not on an academic calendar. So that's one thing we're going to talk about at the retreat is let's get rolling on this. And what I'm real proud of, Corey, is what the board and under Derek's leadership did this past year. I think our board meetings transformed. Mm-hmm. They were board-led. The staff did very little talking, which they don't want to hear from me. Yeah. They don't want to hear from us. The board led the entire meeting, and I think they took that much more ownership. So that's what we're going to plan on enhancing next year. Very simply, our goal, we have to grow our board, but we got to keep it also with quality members for next year.
Absolutely. And Derek, kind of same question, but what's sort of your game plan here as we roll over into the new fiscal year?
Well, I think one of the things we've said for the last couple of years that we can't wait until the start of the fund drive to put a lot of emphasis on this thing. It's Ziggy mentioned it's a 12-month process, so we have to start at the very beginning of the year. And 2 weeks ago, we had a planning meeting with Josiah Castro, who's a new staff member that's kind of our liaison on staff, with 3 or 4 key board members talking about the structure of the board, how we want to change, how we want to go forward this year, maybe implementing some new ideas. And I think it worked out really well. And so Josiah's brought some new stuff to the table. And I think we're going to start talking to members again, start the fundraising process first week in August probably to kind of get this thing going. And that's what we have to do in order to meet the 660 for next year. We can't wait until April 1st. It doesn't work.
So you've already set the goal then, 660?
It's going to be 660 will be the goal. And, before I forget, our staff members, Karen Langston did a great job this year, Suk Virkor, and like Derek Mintz is Josiah. I'm always nervous about leaving people out, but those individuals, worked extremely hard. And they're going to work even harder to get to 660.
Yeah, there you go. You can always go the NASCAR route, so in case you forget anybody, just say, the guys back at the shop. Mm-hmm. So you always say the people back at the shop. Everyone back at the shop, we're great. Just do that generic NASCAR victory lane speech, and you'll be okay. You'll include everybody. Oh. But a good year once again on the fundraising front. 603, 660 has been laid in the groundwork for 2014-15. So, Derek, again, thanks for your work, and as the president of the Scholarship Fund, good first year, and now you get to do it all over again. So
exactly.
Congrats on that, and
thank you.
And we'll be updating you, folks throughout the year for sure with you.
Good. Looking forward to it.
All right, and Ziggy, stick around.
Yes.
He's going to hang out for a few minutes because Steve Barnes is coming up next, and we'll talk more fundraising from kind of a different angle. So that's coming up next. We'll be right back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Buying a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. Scott Tobias Real Estate is here for you. Allow our seasoned and professional associates guide you through every step of the way. Scott Tobias Real Estate is a full-service real estate company providing expert assistance in residential and commercial real estate. The real estate business has changed in many ways over the years, but the desire for excellent customer service is still very much in demand. Our objective is not to be the biggest, but to offer the best real estate services. We're open 7 days a week.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit kernbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on kernbusinessjournal.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And we're back here on Roadrunner Rundown. My thanks to Derek Holdsworth for joining us in the last segment, the president of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, as we continue to talk fundraising here on the program today after a very successful year. First, you had this new scholarship fund record, $603,000 overall, $2 million into the athletics department as well this past year, as several special events and generous gifts. And we're going to kind of continue on that theme, on the generous gifts theme, as interim AD Ziggy Siegfried joined us in studio, and along with Steve Barnes, a big supporter of our volleyball and sand volleyball program, of Barnes Wealth Management Group. And Ziggy, you've got kind of a special announcement, and we like to do big announcements on this show. It's just, it makes me feel special. So you've got a big announcement. I'm going to let you handle this announcement portion of the program.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I think many people have heard about our beautiful sand volleyball courts. They heard about Oregon coming, and we know the result there. We beat Oregon in our opening match. And we even had someone come in and do a report on all of our facilities. And what did they say? They said, man, you've got a really nice, the best sand volleyball facility.
Pac-12 caliber, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of behind the scenes of that has been someone who's been instrumental in that, and that's Steve Barnes. And not only, I'm going to kind of back up a little bit. Steve was involved from the get-go. He made an initial very generous gift. He helped with even the planning of this. And I'll let him tell you about that, but he actually put up the nets, if I remember correctly. And then here recently, he made the decision to make a significant gift to the athletics department for the sand volleyball program, and which will be called the Barnes Beach Volleyball Center, operated by the Student Recreation Center. And we're very fortunate. Steve is a new program. He has been a major part in transforming our sand volleyball program, and for that, we really appreciate it.
And I've enjoyed every bit of it. It's been great. It's been great working with CSUB, the management, the staff, coaches. Everybody's been wonderful. Yeah, really good group.
Yeah, let's, Steve, you and I have talked about this a little bit before, but, what was kind of your draw? Because, like Ziggy said, it's a new program, new sport, a couple years old. What was your draw to say, hey, I really want to step up and help this program as not only an emerging sport in Bakersfield, but an emerging sport across the NCAA?
I've been playing for 30 years. I love it. Picked it up and just fell in love with it because of volleyball. Met my wife, Lori, who is also very instrumental in this. If it wasn't for her, this wouldn't be happening either.
Someone's got to say okay, right? Someone's got to say, yeah, you can do it.
I had to get the okay, definitely. And she's very excited about the program. But the Shepherdsons, the former coaches, they were looking around for some help.
Yeah.
And several people they contacted said, you need to contact Steve. And as soon as he called me and told me about it, I said, yes, I want to be involved. I had read that the NCAA was going to start adding the beach program to the women's program. And I tried to call the Shepherdsons initially, and apparently they didn't get my message, because I immediately, as soon as I heard that, said, we could do this.
Yeah.
But anyway, they followed up, contacted me, and from there I just stayed involved.
Yeah, and you kind of helped, obviously, with the initial get-go. I mean, this facility started as, it literally was a hole in the ground. Like, there was some kind of weird sump hole in the ground at the very north end of the soccer field was this weird grassy sort of just hole. And then it's transformed into what is now one of the top sand volleyball facilities in the country. What was kind of your vision when you decided to get on board and then you saw this sort of hole in the ground and said, okay, we're going to transform this?
Well, it first started with just working with the team, and we worked out at the Truxton extension courts, where the sand, unfortunately, is the one disappointment of that whole facility.
Yeah.
And the Shepherdsons immediately saw that we need to build our own. And right from there, we started discussing it. Then we looked at the site, which I believe was a former court or former sand courts at one point. And to me, it didn't matter that hole what it was. I knew they could dig that out, just like the city did on the Truxton courts. They could dig that out and make it work. The key to this whole process, though, was the sand. And if you don't have good sand, the courts really mean nothing, in my opinion. And we've proven that with bad sand in other courts.
Yeah, and I know you were really involved in that, and we've chatted about that too. But this was sand brought in from what, Capistrano, San Juan Capistrano?
San Juan Capistrano.
Washed or something and
filtered. Washed. We wanted that. We'd seen the courts out in Chula Vista, the Olympic Center.
Yeah.
When we were taking our USAV courses for beach volleyball, and the sand was just pristine. And once we saw those courts, we knew that's what we wanted. So we did the research, hunted down the companies. I still have bags of sand in my office from going through, figuring out which ones do we want. Do we want the highest quality?
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing we did.
I remember one day, actually, it was early in the morning, and I was at work, and it was when Aaron Shepherdson was still there, and there was a bag of sand sitting outside the office door with a note in it, and it was a note to our facilities manager, and it said, this is the one. And there was a little note, and it was a bag of sand, because obviously he had gone through the samples and said this is the one he wanted, to let them know. So, a lot of work went into that. Now, after the initial sort of startup and the initial facility opening, now we're kind of on to phase 2 with what you and your wife have decided to do to help with the program. What was kind of the spark for you in this second gift and saying, okay, now I really want to step up and do something special?
After seeing the courts built and seeing how well the girls are playing, and suddenly the change. And we lost our coaches. Olivia Simcoe stepped in because she was already going to be the assistant coach. She did a fabulous job. I could not rate her any higher for stepping into that situation. And she acted like she wanted to be there. Yeah. And getting to know her, and again, working with the girls again, I started talking to my wife more about it, that we would really like to step up. And really it was the coaching at that point. And then what sealed it was meeting Giovanna. I think she's icing on the cake for the program, and that made us really want to finish this off.
Yeah, Olivia is funny. We kind of chatted about the fact that here's someone who came in as a volunteer assistant, and then her boss says leave and go somewhere else, and she gets thrown into this head coaching role. And her team was phenomenal. Of course, she's a former beach pro, and that always helps. But I mean, what a lucky, it was lucky for us. I mean, to kind of luck into somebody like that, and now you have a great sand coach.
Yeah, no, she's great, and I'm glad to see. From my understanding, she is staying on.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say you brought up Giovanna Mello as well, our new director of volleyball. Always, kind of a change when you get a new coach. Yeah. But I mean, gosh, what a personality! And I've said before, she has. At the junior college level, if there's an award to win or a championship, she's won 2 of them. Yeah. And so you got to kind of be excited about what she brings to the table and the pedigree of a coach.
Oh, I absolutely agree. There's an old adage, and I think she fits it perfectly. Hire the best and get out of their way. And I think that's what you guys are doing. You're just letting her run the program, and she's going to do a great job.
Yeah, I was even just yesterday at camp. I just swung by, and she was on the first segment. We had a clip of her talking about the camps. And they have a sand camp, by the way, folks, which starts this weekend, as a matter of fact. Details at GoRunners.com. But we were talking about camps, and so I just kind of took some shots of her as I walked into the rec center where they were having the camp. And, I mean, she is legitimately coaching. Sometimes at camps, the head coaches hang back and let the student-athletes do the work. She's stopping drills. She's making everyone huddle around. She's talking about going 100 miles an hour at a camp. Normally, head coaches just kind of hang back and let staff do the work. But she was fired up, and we're just talking about summer camps right now.
No, that's definitely her style, and I think that fit perfectly with the girls because when we started the first year, it was hard. Most of them had never played on sand before, and it's a difficult change, and yet they were still smiling. I love, because I was able to help in the first year, the nice thing about coaching D1 is they stop, they listen, and they apply what you tell them. They don't argue. These girls don't act like they know it all.
Yeah. And like I said, that was a sport that if you ask any of the volleyball players now when they play indoor and they play sand, you ask them which one they like. Most of them are saying, I really like the beach volleyball. I really like being outside. I really like the game. I mean, it's just because it's such a 2-on-2 deal. Yeah. It's you and a partner against someone else and a partner. So they definitely enjoy that. Ziggy, this gift by Steve and his wife and this for this facility, what will that kind of help improve this facility? Like we said, we already like it the way it is, but there's more improvements to be done. So what will this gift specifically help with that facility?
Sure. Well, first of all, we've been working on this for a while. We have 68 palm
trees. They're waiting for palm trees forever.
And that's why we built it up. We wanted it to be that much more exciting. But no, we have 68 palm trees going up here in the next couple of weeks. We also are going to work on some wraps around the facilities, maybe inside the facilities, that kind of showcase what that facility is all about, kind of highlight it back to our campaign that we're currently working on with marketing. And I want to throw this in there is a lot of times, people know that Steve is very passionate about volleyball and sand volleyball in the community. But what's amazing, we're at the rec center a couple days ago, and we hear in the background these volleyball girls, Steve, they're yelling Steve's name. Those volleyball girls absolutely love Steve. And I know that how passionate he is about the student athletes and how much he cares about them. So it's just real rewarding to see someone be that involved. A lot of times people will make a gift and say, here you go, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But Steve has made a gift, and he's also been an active part of the program. So it's just very rewarding to see that.
Thank you.
And Steve, what would you, like we said, the facility is beautiful and great. There are a few things you'd like to, to see here in the near future with the facility just to make it even better?
Well, one thing I do know, and this is kind of a shout out to one contributor, Kerry Ryan with Action Sports. The moment I text him, because he's been involved in donating the nets out at the Truxton courts, and I text him and he immediately answered, yes, I want to be involved. I wanted to get these nets going. Before we even had the official tournament nets in place, Kerry donated nets for me to put up so the girls could at least start practicing. But really, there's not a whole lot more, to be honest. The stands can come in. At any time you can move those in and out. I would like to see more community involvement is what I'd really like to see. One of the things that Ziggy's helping me on is the very first indoor tournament of the year. We'd like to bring in as many of the volleyball players as we can. And Cal State was nice enough to donate at a memorial tournament that we had recently. Passes for each of the players participating.
Oh, great.
So, sorry, a little off your question there, but I think that's the bigger thing that my little goal is trying to bring up the attendance.
And I think that'll definitely be there. We had great attendance in a couple matches we had this past year with not a lot of promotion, but now, you have the good folks at Bakersfield Life doing a nice write-up about the facility, and I get more questions now about, hey, when's your beach volleyball season open? People are they're hearing about it now and going, oh, wow, this is going to, and it's new. They haven't really seen it in person. And once they go out there, they sit in the sunshine, they, listen to the music playing as the matches are going on. It's a great atmosphere, and I'm sure that that'll definitely be built up. So, in the very, very short future. Well, Steve, thanks so much for coming on the program. Your support of this program and the Roadrunners in general, and we appreciate it. And we'll be checking in here as we get closer to the next sand volleyball season in the spring.
Thank you, Corey, very much.
All right, Steve Barnes of Barnes Wealth Management and big supporter of CSUB Sand Volleyball and CSUB Volleyball. We're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, we're going to flip the script a little bit. So just stay tuned to see what that means. It's Roadrunner Rundown.
Hey everybody, I'm Louis Amestoy, the host of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour here on Bakersfield.com. You can watch us live every Tuesday at 11 o'clock as we talk about things going on at Auto Club Formosa Raceway, at Kern County Raceway Park, and of course the historic Bakersfield Speedway. We'll have results, we'll have interviews with drivers, we'll have updates on Kevin Harvick and Casey Mears on NASCAR. Also talk about NHRA, IndyCar, Formula One. Also be joined by Mike Griffith in studio every day.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown, and as you can see, this is not Corey Costelloe, Ziggy Siegfried, Interim Director of Athletics, and I want to thank again Steve Barnes and his wife Lori. I mean, what a generous commitment they made, and we really appreciate him coming on the show. We appreciate Derek Holdsworth, and now we're going to turn the table a little bit. We actually have some good news. This good-looking guy over here.
People probably thought I went to the bathroom or something. They probably thought, hey, what's going on?
I'm just a fill-in, you know. That's the thing. But we are switching gears a little bit, and, you know, this has kind of been in the works for a while, Corey, but Corey recently was promoted to an assistant athletics director title, and now I want to be real clear about this. That was not something I did. That was the former athletics director, Jeff Konya.
Ziggy actually voted against it, I think.
Yeah, I voted against that, but you know, it still went through. But no, all kidding aside, Corey, I think you know this. You know my stance. You've done an absolutely wonderful job and well deserving of this promotion. And you were really the first person I knew before I ever got on campus here, because everything that we're doing, Corey, is getting out there nationally, locally, and it's great. So will you talk a little bit about your new position and what that entails?
Yeah, well, first of all, just real quick what you talked about, that you said the first person you knew. And honestly, I enjoy that role because everyone who wants to come and work here at CSUB goes to our website, watches Roadrunner Rundown. And so when I see them, they go, oh, yeah, you're the guy that I saw. And they feel like they know me already. And I think that gives them a level of comfort when they come into a new program because they've got somebody they've been watching for a couple weeks and getting to know about the program on. So I kind of like that role to be able to do that. And that's why this show is so great. And I enjoy doing it. But the new role will basically, oversee a couple different things, and they're different, but they're also the same. And that includes our athletics communications office, which is our traditional, a lot of our sports information and our website stuff and our media relations, that office. And then the marketing department, and the great thing about that is what Jeff Konya did as an athletics director, he really sees media relations. He sees the media as probably the primary marketing tool for an institution. So a lot of stuff that I've been doing for the last few years, a lot of stuff that anyone working with me has been doing is kind of marketing centered. Everything we write, everything we put on the website, the order in which we put things on our website, the order in which we do things on this show is got a marketing focus to it because it's a way to sell tickets and get people excited about the program and create the emotional attachment. So now basically having kind of the marketing department sort of report to me is just, it's nothing really different than what we've already been doing. And we've been working together, and I'd been handling the marketing aspect of the advertising for the last several years. And so we've been working very close together, and everything that these two departments do is marketing based. So now it just kind of all is lumped into one title, but it's just an opportunity to continue really using media as a primary marketing tool for our program.
Yeah, and now that the tables are turned a little bit, I think I brought this up to you. It might have even been 2 weeks that I'd love to come on the show and interview you about your new role. You've been, involved with CSUB Athletics for a long time.
Yeah.
I think since 2003.
2004. I think actually I was thinking about the other day. 2004, 5 was my first. Actually, 2003, 2004 was my first year. Yeah.
So I was right.
So you were right. Yeah, it's been so long I forget.
So I've been here 2.5 years, but
Yeah.
you've been able to see everything from the Division II days to the transition to Division I independent stage. What does that all look like? How have things gone since you've been involved?
It's crazy because I think it just wrapped up season number 11 on the air, and been through. I remember the first few years. We went to the NCAA Division II West Regionals and got to the semis in 1 year on the men's side. The women's team made the finals a couple times. Their second year they went all the way to the Elite Eight, but that was before I got here. But we were being in that Division II kind of powerhouse deal, and then you decided to make the Division I announcement because really at the point there was nothing left to accomplish the Division II level, and so it was time for a new challenge. And so then we went into the transition, and you want to talk about really, it's kind of like, you don't want to use the term the dark ages, but it was a tough time because you're not getting a lot of great student athletes because they want to go compete for championships. And so it was tough to draw somebody in. We weren't part of a conference, didn't have a conference home announced yet. So we were sort of in limbo. We got to play at some great places, got to see a lot of great things. And that's kind of what sort of makes me have a marketing mind, is I've got a chance to see all these places from the Big East to the Pac-12 and all that stuff. And then we got into being a Division I member as an independent and kind of went through the bumps and bruises in that. And then it's finally come full circle being a member of the WAC. And last year playing at a conference tournament, that's when it hit me, going to the Orleans Arena, walking in, seeing our logo on an elevator, seeing the WAC basketball tournament on a key card, and seeing our signs hanging in a casino. And I thought, 2004, nobody knew who we were. And here we are now in Las Vegas at one of the premier casinos in the city, and our logo is on top of a slot machine. That to me was like, wow, this really has come full circle, and we've arrived a little bit.
And I'm putting you on the spot here because I didn't give you any heads up on this, but what is your favorite memory, just one
favorite memory
that you've had since arriving here?
Favorite memory, I think, still dates back to, there's been a couple. On the basketball side, my favorite memory was still, I think, beating Fresno State in that first home basketball Division I basketball game at Rabobank Arena in 2000, and gosh, now I can't remember when it was. 2007, I think it was. That was our first kind of official home basketball game, and against Fresno State, and we literally had no business winning that game. And it comes down to the wire. They make some big mistakes. We hit a couple shots, and just to upset them like that in our first Division I home game was huge. And so that was definitely probably one of my favorite memories. And then I think baseball-wise, getting going down a few years ago, 2011, with the team that we had, and going down to UCLA, and Garrett Cole, who ended up being the number 1 draft pick that year by the Pittsburgh Pirates, was on the mound, and we beat him. We beat him 2-0 or whatever it was. And Tyler Shryock hits a home run. His only career home run comes off the guy who was the number 1 draft pick, and Mike McCarthy, who's pitching AA now for the Red Sox, pitched the game of his life, and probably the one that a lot of folks say got him drafted. And just being a part of that game and beating UCLA was for that program at the time a huge victory. Yeah. And still, those kind of 2 of my top favorite memories, I think.
So talk about the future. What is the future going to look like here? Talk about the We're All Runners campaign. Yeah. And what are you excited about there?
I think, and this was a brainchild of Jeff Konya, who's got a huge marketing mind as well. And so he kind of came up with that concept, very similar to what the Los Angeles Kings have done with the We Are All Kings. We wanted to say, okay, let's change that a little bit, because Kern County is diverse. Kern County, you look at it on a map, it's geographically, it's a giant. It's huge. And you've got Bakersfield, and then I don't know if people have ever been out to eastern Kern County. I mean, it looks like the surface of the moon out there, but it's our county, and it's the desert. So you've got the desert, you've got the valley, you've got the mountains of Tehachapi, where I'm from. You've got Delano, you've got the farming communities, and so you've got so much diversity. But the common core is CSUB. I mean, that we are the only Division I university within a 100-mile radius. So we are Kern County. And no matter where we live, we're kind of the common thread. We're getting on the television coverage, newspaper coverage. And so, that was where kind of We're All Runners came from, is we're all runners. No matter if you're in Delano or Ridgecrest, we are Kern County's program. And so that was a big focus of that, the emotional attachment. But also we wanted to make it, this next year is going to be very focused. Next few years, going to be very focused on fans. And we're all runners, but we want people, as someone who looks at it, as a consumer, I want you're going to buy a product, you're going to come to our games because it makes you feel good, and it adds value to your life. And so that is our goal: is to you don't owe us to come to our games. We need to find a way to make it interesting for you, and that's what we're going to do. We got the $5 tickets for kids this year. Any seat in the house. That's just one part of it, and more fan-friendly things to come for sure.
Yeah, and that's exciting. And I'm going to tell you, this right here is taken off.
Big part.
Started by the students.
Yeah.
Just talking to Dr. Wallace about that yesterday, and it's a good time.
Started, and as we wrap up, I think we got about 40 seconds. Started, and I'm going to give you the history of this. Started in 2011 by the baseball team, right? They did this a few times, and they would even move the beak up and down a little bit. And then kind of adopted by more teams, swimming being very prominent, volleyball, and so we've actually made a logo of it now. And yeah, that's what we're going with. So when we see each other on the street, this is what we do.
I like it.
All right, man. Hey, we got to go. It's time to wrap. They're yelling at me in the earpiece.
Congratulations, Corey.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go. I'll wrap from this chair. We got to go. 10 seconds. Visit us online at GoRunners.com. Get the show anytime. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Ziggy. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.